This review aims to provide a critical analysis of a Starbrook News article entitled Extra Lessons. The article was published on June 28, 2015, shedding light on the writer's stance on the issue of extra lessons in Guyanese schools. The article attempts to bring greater attention to the increase in extra lesson practices that has been adopted by many teachers and seeks to persuade the Ministry of Education, parents, and other members of the general public that extra lessons should be discontinued. The article explains that instructional periods at schools are heavily focused on exam preparation techniques rather than the delivery of curriculum instruction. Hence the need to make up for the much-needed learning loss through extra lessons. The writer posited that teachers' remuneration and parents' desires for their children to perform well in exams are critical factors that may hinder the discontinuation of extra lessons. In an effort to do away with these extra lessons or these extra classes, the writer suggested that teachers' salaries should be increased, the need for assessments at the lower levels of the primary schools should be reviewed, and the number of subjects written at the CSEC level should be reduced.
I am going to highlight the strength of this article. We are going to look at the literary devices used. Those are imagery, personification, and repetition. And so I'm going to emphasize on the strength of the article. With the use of these literary devices, the author was able to express himself. Example, imagery. Quoting from the article in paragraph 13. As for a parent, as long as they feel that tuition outside the school walls will give their child an extra edge, they will fork out the money for it, no matter what the financial strain. The imagery impacts the article by painting a picture that caused the reader to visualize parents would eagerly pay exorbitant sum of money for if it will lead to their child's academic performance. And so let's go to the personification in paragraph 8. We say that while the ministry did not intend that extra lessons should raise their unwelcome head, we can say that the writer is giving life to the word extra lesson. He is associating extra lesson to unwelcome head by giving it human qualities. And so for the repetition in paragraph 6, and we all know that repetition is used to add emphasis. So in paragraph 6, it says that 5% of the marks of grade 2 and 10% of grade 4 are included in the final grade 6 assessment marks. While in paragraph 7, it was decided, therefore, to include a few of the marks from grade 2 and 4 in the grade 6 total. In paragraph 6, it was used to highlight the percentage located to the exam. But in paragraph 7, it was used to add additional information as to why the grades were allocated by proving his reader with more details. Now, apart from the literary devices, the writer also used vocabulary to capture the reader's attention. The tone used is one of disgust, and it can be noted in the writer's expression of describing lesson as disease. So when we look at disease, we associate it with negative or negativity, unpleasant, unwelcome situation, as quoted in paragraph 6, where the spread of extra lesson disease. The vocabulary used in the article supports the writer's point in two views. One, as teacher, reading words like disease, which would use to describe extra lesson, encourage us as educators to read further to understand why such words were used. So we're going to keep reading to know what is it they want to bring out. However, On the other hand, a non-educator, a parent reading this article, the tone and vocab used would make parents see extra lesson in a negative light, which will deter them from wanting to make such an investment. And last, the article. The article was written in a logical manner. The argument was clear to the reader. This article presents a clear argument based on extra lesson in the school. Now my next colleague is going to talk or highlight you on the weaknesses of this article.
In highlighting the weaknesses of this article, we notice that there are no evidence to support the writer's statements. We believe most of which was said could have been supported with statistical data. For example, the writer said, "Is the assumption that it is teachers in the public school system who are the primary ones driving the extra lesson industry. Therefore, the article's credibility is damaged by the absence of actual data to back up its assertions." The author could have used this opportunity to give data on the number of students taking extra lessons, the number of teachers offering extra lessons, and the effect of extra lessons on students' academic performance will have been tremendously beneficial to his point, especially since his target audience is for the Minister of Education and parents. In our view, the author is attacking teachers who keep extra lessons. He is pushing the narrative that teachers only keep extra lessons for money, and I quote in the author's own word, "accustomed to monetary rewards well in excess for their basic salary." And again, we can see that the writer of this article lacks sufficient evidence. We believe that the lack of evidence for monetary rewards given to teachers lacks data and evidence to support his claim, which affects his point in the article since there are no credibility. Another weakness of this article is that the writer appears to be biased. The writer of the article could have been benefited from a more balanced approach to the issue. While the author acknowledges the benefits of extra lessons, such as providing additional support to struggling students, the article tends to focus on the negative aspects of extra lessons. It can be concluded that bias in research can cause distorted results and wrong conclusions, and therefore it affects its point in the article.
In conclusion, the article provides valuable insight on the issue of extra lessons in the Guyanese education system. It highlights the negative impact of exams on teaching and the need to prioritize education over exams. The article identifies the key factors contributing towards the prevalence of extra lessons and suggests ways to address the problem. However, the article could have benefited from a more balanced approach and empirical evidence to support its claims. Overall, the article raises important questions about education and its impact on the academia of students.